So our next session is a chapter spotlight. Here in the US, the Washington, D.C. chapter is one of the most active groups of the Service Design Network local chapters. So here to speak about some of their activities and their successes is the team from the SDN Washington, D.C. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, and welcome, and hello, everybody. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So we are the Washington, D.C. chapter, coming to you live from the capital city of the United States. Please, as we get started, make sure to grab a piece of paper and a pen. We're gonna do an activity at the end of this presentation, so make sure to have that ready. My name is Sergio. I'm originally from Costa Rica, and I'm now a proud transplant to the DC area. I work as a design strategist for Capital One Bank, and I'm part of the DC leadership. I'm one of the most recent members of this leadership board, and I'm here with Yosef.
Hi, my name is Yosef Shuman. I have been part of the service design community for about 10 years now, and I've been in DC for about 4 years. And most recently, I started working as a service designer for Ford's autonomous vehicles team. In addition, although they're not with us today, we have Tucker, and then we have our service design chapter founders, Aza and Lisa. So today, next slide. You know, as you can see, we have a thriving service design community. This is mostly pre-pandemic, although we have had the ability to have one open air experience to meet up for drinks. You know, and people come to DC for many reasons. You know, obviously we are the capital of the United States, and so there's a lot of opportunities to work in government here. But we also have healthcare, we have nonprofits, we have banks, we have hospitality. And people come here because of the ability to make a large impact in the world or in this country. We also, next slide, post-COVID or during COVID, we've moved a lot of our events online. And, you know, we've had lots of pecha kuchas and workshops, and we've had guest speakers, and we'll throw our handle up at the end if you want to participate in any of our events going forward. Please join our meetup group or follow our hashtag. But today we're going to talk not just about our community, but also things that are happening in our city and around the world. You know, so the service design community is amazing and it's great, and it's wonderful, but it's also not the only community that we as individuals participate in. Next slide. In DC, you know, I don't know how much of this is seen around the world, but everything from, you know, the Women's March, the March for Our Lives, Black Lives Matter marches, and then, you know, depending on which side of the political spectrum you're on, we had the riots on January 6th. And, you know, this has a huge impact on us as individuals, as people living in this city, you know, between buildings being boarded up and roads being closed. And, you know, we're going out and protesting ourselves. So taking a stand is a big way that citizens here make their voices heard. They take to the streets, we protest, we rally, we march. Next slide. The goal, you know, of taking to the streets, showing your numbers, making sure that your voice is heard, especially by those in positions of power. Next slide.
And in our DC chapter, in contrast to all of these rallies and protests and marches that we see happen in the city all around us, we recognize that we can also take a stand by holding space and listening. You know, we can take a stand by embracing silence and actively listen to others. We can take a stand by being good allies and making space for those more underrepresented voices in our design community. And this is something that we've done, you know, and we try to do with our events. So this realization has led us to some amazing collaborations with local design community. For example, we had this event recently, trying to understand how designers are playing a key role in shaping safe spaces, from, you know, urban planning in our neighborhoods or interactions that we have in our organizations, or maybe our digital or online communities. We ask ourselves, why is it important to create safe spaces? Or maybe more important, why do we need to dismantle harmful ones? And this was one of the most popular events we've had so far. And this was a collaboration with DC Design Week. But we also have created other opportunities for our communities. And this is an opportunity for community members to practice new skills. This was an event that we held late in 2020. And this was to help us fine tune our listening skills. We practiced the process of listening to ourselves and listening to others, and fine tune our skills of listening to emotions. And as well as this, we're thinking of new events and what's coming up for us. We have an event later in November around context as space. This is more for the practice of service design, but again, this exploration around space. And there are many other events coming up, and we invite you to join our meetup group or our meetup link to learn about the events that we host every month. And these are just some of those events, right? But what we want to do is, we understand that, as many speakers have highlighted throughout these 2 days, we recognize that this is a deeply personal journey, right? That in order for us to hold space for others, we need to hold space for ourselves first. We need to be able to listen to ourselves and give ourselves some of that space. So for that, we want to do one of our favorite exercises, and we've done this in a couple of our workshops. So this is where I ask you to please grab a pen and a piece of paper. If I were able to see you, I'll probably ask you to show it in the camera right now, but I'm gonna just believe that you're doing it and following along. What I want you to do is, any piece of paper will work. I want you to grab a piece of paper and draw 2 intersecting lines, one horizontally and one vertically. And then again, just any piece of paper will work. Just draw 2 lines that intersect in the middle. Perfect. Now that you have that, what I want you to do is, I want you to start drawing, from the point where they intersect, start drawing the tightest, slowest spiral that you can. And we're gonna be doing this for around 60 seconds, 50 to 60 seconds. Concentrate in the drawing, go from the center and start drawing the slowest, tightest spiral that you can. 50 seconds, go. And again, concentrate in the drawing. At this moment, I would probably ask you to show it to the camera, just like this. You might have a spiral that looks something like this, or hopefully better. Now, we normally do this activity with the 4 quadrants that we have. For the sake of time, we're only gonna do 2. So what I want you to do now is choose any of the 4 quadrants that you have and write down, how are these talks and conversations of the conference making you feel? Just write down, how are these talks and conversations making you feel? Just think about, what are the emotions that the talks are evoking on you today, yesterday. How are they making you feel? And once you have that, just choose any of the other 3 quadrants that you have left, and just ask yourself, what important voices are we not hearing yet? What are those voices that we need to hear more of and that we're not hearing yet? Just whatever, what comes to mind first? What are those important voices that we still need to listen to and to hear in our conversations? And this activity is called Spiral Journey, and we hope that this activity can help us get ready to hold space for others. If we give ourselves some opportunity to hold space for ourselves, we will be able to also hold space for others. And with that, thanks for holding space with us. And Joseph, I don't know.
Yeah, thank you so much. I even wrote down something I didn't expect to write down, so that was really meditative and introspective. So thank you. Yeah, we can't see all your faces, but hope to connect with you in one of the chats, some of the socializing that'll be happening later in the event.
And thanks again. Have a great rest of the conference.
That was so wonderful. Thank you so much, Sergio and Yosef. You're always coming through with the best activities. I remember last year's activity, you had us identify monuments within our house that were pandemic monuments. And mine was this plant, actually. Let's see it back again. It's grown exponentially. Thank you for that. It was a very wonderful activity. So we are going to take a little break before we come back for our fireside chat with Daniel Burka. So we will be taking 30 minutes. Come back at 8:30 Pacific time, 5:30 Central European time, and we will see you then.